Action and welcome everybody. This is PnP Weekly episode 227. It is 20th of November 2023. Haha, got the year right. Waldek.
Finally. Took you a while.
Small details. In the PnP Weekly, I always talk about the latest Microsoft 365 all up together with our partner dependent technologies like Power Platform and all of that. And we have the structure is that we do intro, we do an interview, and then we go to articles, the weekly, whatever is happening. This time we had a really awesome discussion already. I recorded a while back with Reshmee Auckloo. She's a developer, developer, not a consultant, because she's working in a customer organization side. Related on Power Platform and SPFX and Microsoft 365 extensibility, a lot of other stuff as well. So she's been actively involved within the community, and there was a really good discussion, actually. I really like that. So
yeah, I would say without further ado, how about we jump to the interview?
Let's jump to the interview and move back to articles right after that. Excellent. Let's get started. So thank you, Reshmee, for joining on the PnP Weekly. I think it was, Waldek, you said episode 2027.
Yes.
Yes. So it's quite a few of them.
Well, it's not 2027, it's 227. We're not there yet with 2027. Like, we'll get there in 2 more years.
A few more years. That's actually really good. 227. So Reshmee, so let's focus on you, not on the math, which I can't do. So Reshmee, can you do a quick intro? Who you are and what do you do for a living?
Yeah, I'm SharePoint Developer in a company called Pension Protection Fund based in Croydon within London. And within my role, I can't say I'm an expert in everything, but I kind of touch based on different technology stack, the Power Platform, SPFX, PowerShell, Azure DevOps, and previously I've worked on SharePoint on-premise as well, building sandbox solutions, server-side code.
Never go away.
Just don't. Nintex. Yeah, so it's been quite a journey. So I'm quite So I've been within my current role for the last 7 years, and quite glad to be a part of a digital transformation which happened at the company with the migration from on-premise onto the cloud, which has brought a lot of benefits to the business users, enabling them to use new technologies like the Teams, Yammer, OneDrive.
Viva Engage, not Yammer. Remember.
Yes, it's Viva Engage. Yeah, it's just I tried it together. Yes. Right. Yeah. So that's kind of basically that's in the sort of the intro. Yeah.
Now, let's do a quick one. So you mentioned the on-premises and cloud and everything else, but what does the company actually do? Because there's a kind of a reason why the on-prem might or might not be still used. Because I guess you mentioned pensions, and it's a pension-based company, so therefore they cannot just move across the systems super fast, because you need to make sure that there's a lot of information. Is that correct?
Yes, so we are kind of unique in terms it's a body which has been set up based on legislation to protect members which have defined benefit schemes in a simple terms, ensuring like those who had the pensions, which kind of ensures like a final salary at retirement age. If the companies went bust, insolvent, we are here like to protect, to ensure like they still get the pension. So dealing like with members' data security, it's kind of a primary thing. And but in terms as a company, we do try, even at the end we kind of embrace like the public service, where the members are at the heart of everything we do, but we still try to innovate and be competitive as a private sector, just to be able to provide a better service for internal stakeholders as well as external stakeholders.
And it's not actually that rare that financial institute and pension and insurance companies still have on-premises deployments because of the security and concerns and compliance. But you did say that it's moving more and more to the cloud as well. So you're in a hybrid mode.
Yeah. So it's kind of helped a lot. Like even as my role, even as a developer, I look after the SharePoint administration as well. So when we're on-prem, say one of the tasks, which was like to do the monthly security patch on the servers and to look at the SharePoint health of our servers, is one of the tasks which is gone, which is really good. So we are really in a good path, like just to move everything onto the cloud and still like looking at improving internal processes, because as you can imagine, there will be loads of processes which are based using Excel spreadsheet. So it's one of
These are the best
areas.
These are the best.
Well,
literally.
at least if they're not in Access, that's already a start. Not that Access was a really cool thing, but still.
Yeah, and then I try to analyze like which product could be best suited to improve efficiency across the whole business.
Yeah.
You said that you went all the way from on-prem to cloud. How did your work actually, and the type of things you build and the way you build them and the way you go from dev to prod, how did that change over the years so that you can go from systems that are fully on-prem to things that are in a cloud and always change?
It's challenging because on premise everything seems just a little bit more static, and even like to have like the pipelines in DevOps for deployment across the different environments, that was just impossible, or I don't know, or we don't really figure out a way of doing it. But since we are like on the cloud using SharePoint Online, it's very easy like to set up pipelines in Azure DevOps using YAML or some other means like to do a deployment, which makes life a bit much more easier.
Yeah. Now I have to ask this, and this is more like not a dinosaur question, but you talked about sandbox solutions, and do you still do sandbox solution, farm solutions in the on-prem?
No, it's gone. Thank goodness. It has so much. I mean, it kind of served its purpose at that time, but it did have its limitations. And being on the cloud means like we can use other cool technologies, which makes our lives easier
without compromising the actual service, because that was absolutely well, sandbox solution was a bit of a interesting side track, but farm solutions the problem was that you basically compromised with every single deployment. You compromised the farm, so you never knew if it's gonna come back live or not.
Don't tell the customers that they compromised something. Like there were years of good business for partners to build these things that we recommended. Now we're compromising things. No.
Well, every single deployment was a risk. You needed to. You basically
like everything else, you need to know what you're doing.
Sure.
The same thing.
True.
Yeah, it's been a interesting transition.
What's been the most hardest thing on transitioning? Is there any specific things, or is it more like, yes, finally we can do web stack development and all of this stuff, and I can just leave that behind and move on the new world? How did that felt? Were there any specifics, hard areas for the transition?
Was cake involved?
I think the business processes, kind of evolve with time, but at the same time, like for example, like heavy customized server-side solution, you need to think of a different way whenever we are transitioning onto the cloud, and we had like to build everything from scratch. And for some, we just found like using the low-code platform, using Power Apps, because a lot of heavily customized list forms, which could easily be done in Power Apps by using Power Automate instead of using timer jobs. So it just needs to find the right mapping. So So we had to really rebuild a lot of the solutions.
Yeah.
But that is an interesting point, right? So you came from the world where everything was code, and you went to the cloud where you have no code, low code, pro code. And you didn't default directly from, okay, we had code here, it needs to be code there. How did you go about learning about all the different options you've got and then picking the right one for the job, as opposed to saying, I've got a hammer, everything's a nail?
Yeah, that's true. We kind of considered the whole technology stack and try to find which technology is going to work best for that particular solution. So we kind of always have the approach of looking what's available out of the box and what could be achieved using a low-code solution before going onto the pure development side. So it's kind of and then that related to the learning because being new to the cloud and being just me and my manager on the SharePoint side, it's not enough to scale up or scale down the team to be able to help. So we do liaise with third-party partners or suppliers who brings in the skills that we need, as well as internally learned up on these technologies, so that after we own the solution, we are able to progress with them and to be able to support it.
Yeah. Now, how did you any tips on starting to learn those solutions and options? So what was your kind of what is the most
journey.
useful tips on on that journey?
It's kind of interesting because ever since we moved onto the cloud, our company kind of supports the learning and development of stuff, and we do have a training budget, and as part of the move onto the cloud, our company is kind of lucky to be part of something called Employee Skills Initiative. We do provide instructor-led training and as well as certifications for free. And as part of that, I did express my interest to do some of the instructor-led training, which was so I had the opportunity to do some of that, and we have membership to Pluralsight as well. Pluralsight, so I've watched a lot of videos on there, and then Microsoft Learn, which has amazing materials, which are always, it seems always up to date, which is really incredible. That's my de facto place for now, to learn about new stuff. And kind of a journey and learning again from the others, from the PnP community calls, which I started watching 2 years ago. That's a way I kind of learned a lot about what's possible in the M365, and just to get ideas, and whenever requirements come up within the business, I know I watched something on this formatting, you can do amazing thing, or in Power Platform, the tools that you can build, or using SPFX, what are the possibilities. So so it's kind of various medium, even on Twitter or LinkedIn. Since I started my contributions, I think I built up some followers. I've kind of knew a lot of people who are experts in their own fields, and just following them and reading whatever they've been posting, and there's always something to learn from others.
Yeah, absolutely. Now I have to say, especially on the list formatting things and watching the videos, it's if you see Chris doing a demo, it's oh, that's super easy. And it's wait, how did he know? How? Because those demos are every single time.
ChatGPT. He's been an early adopter. He had access to ChatGPT even before it was a thing, and that's how.
Really?
To be honest, my first list formatting I had to do, I did look at the existing samples, and I came across one of the samples which Andrew Large Android large did, and it was like a very long JSON script, and going through it, I was just like, oh, how is that
How do
all
I debug
nested?
this? How do I
No
step?
idea. No,
Yeah.
no, no, no.
Yes.
It was not
Yes.
possible.
Yeah.
No. So at that time, yeah, I did use ChatGPT, just try to understand what it's
What does that thing
doing.
do?
Yes.
Brilliant. But I'm like,
What is
that,
this?
that is a
Did it?
brilliant use. That is a brilliant use to have an
Exactly.
assist. Like, explain this to me like I'm 5. And I'm like, yep, totally.
Yes.
That
Yep.
thing does this. That thing does that. Brilliant.
Did you
Like, you
get
save a
anything
bunch of time.
valuable? Did you get anything valuable out of the ChatGPT out of that?
I think the explanation, yeah, it did kind of make sense, but then like playing around with
Yeah.
it on the UI, trying bits, taking things out, it just like make a little bit more sense as well,
Yes.
because wherever you
Yeah.
have, because I had to adapt his sample to the use case that I had, which
Okay.
was a much more simpler use case. And yeah, so it was more like removing a lot of his code, but again, so it's kind of help understanding, but again, it's like a lot of iterations and a lot of trying out. Yeah, I did try to ask ChatGPT to generate something based on my use case, and we were just like,
No.
it kind of it was not very successful.
I have to say that it's interesting to see the statistics related on GitHub repositories and samples, because specifically in the list formatting case, we can move forward from that discussion in a second, but specifically in those samples, there's so many samples available on list formatting, and it is low code end user enabled extensibility. It's 500, 600,000 views every single month within the samples. It's massive because it enables people to do cool things without code and without any.
Well, I would argue with you any time of the day. It's way harder to work with than actual code where you've got IntelliSense, design time, type checking, and all of that. So if it works, it works.
True.
You don't need to compile, build anything. But if it breaks, good luck with that. Anyway, as we are closing down this topic, I want to actually take a step back. You mentioned that you learned from community goals. How did you come across them? Where did you find them or hear about them? How did you like, hey, there is that thing? Do you know
that's quite interesting, because I know about the PnP initiatives back when in 2014, maybe it was 2016.
Seriously?
I started.
Wow.
Yeah. I've been in that area.
Tabs on us. There you go.
Yeah, because prior to my job, I was working for a consultancy firm, and then back then we were Microsoft partner, and sometimes we were kind of discussing, especially like the move like to SharePoint Online onto the cloud, and how like especially like the PnP remote provisioning, how we can help clients and all these stuff. So I was kind of aware of those at that time, and then and when it was time where my current employer was moving on to the cloud as well, and I had to learn a lot of things. And then when I was like maybe like searching, trying to find ways of learning, and then so I just came across PnP. And ever since, I've just tried to watch everything. Sometimes I can attend the calls. Sometimes I just watch them like offline as well. So I've kind of learned quite a lot. So that's when I've learned about the sample script repository. Prior to that, back in 2014 or 2016, sometimes I did contribute to a few samples. I don't know how many, like to the TechNet gallery, but that again use SharePoint type code and see some. So I kind of started with the sample strips, and then Paul Bullock, he's very good like promoting all the contributors on Twitter, and I think that's helped me to get some followers and to start using Twitter, because I did have my account for quite a long time, but I never really used Twitter before or LinkedIn or anything to do anything. And then he kind of suggested, like, if I want, I can write a blog post on the M365 community blog, and he gave me Louise contact details, so she can set
And the
me an
rest is
account.
history.
Yeah. And then based on that, so I have been in touch with many amazing people, like even Marcus Mueller, who kind of helped me a lot for my first community call for one SPF example, which I kind of just upgraded to the latest SPFX. But maybe, that's still a contribution. Yes. So amazing people, amazing community, all supportive, helpful, and I think from listening to the PnP Weekly, I learned about the CLI for M365 as well. And one time it was like Martin Linkstell blog was mentioned, and I was like, that sounds interesting. Let me try it out. And even without writing any TypeScript code before, I decided to create my first issue and submitted my first VR. And so you can imagine not having written any TypeScript, but Waldek, he was the first one who kind of reviewed my PR. So there were lots of review comments, but all very useful for a learning journey. And and I think whatever I've learned from contributing to the CLI for M365 are transferable. Like for example, when I'm writing SPFX code in TypeScript, I kind of learn a little bit more about the coding standards and other things, which is like really useful. And and as well as the PnP PowerShell as well, because that's something which I use quite a lot to automate any tasks I have. Maybe because I'm lazy. I don't know. Because it just makes
No. Automation is good. So
Lazy is good.
And if I feel like there are certain commandlets which can help me, or there's certain improvements, I'll just go into the repository and just contribute back, because eventually it just helps me as well. Yeah.
now that was a lot of different contributions which you've done within the past, and you've been nominated as an MVP, which is awesome. We'll certainly get that one moving. Congratulations on that. That's a nomination yet, but it's going to be followed then later. Now, on those contributions, and how did you come across that initial hurdle? So what would be beneficial? So I can imagine that there's multiple, and that's always the first one is the most difficult one. But what pushed you over the edge on basically going outside of your comfort zone and okay, I'll just click share and pull request and submit and be like, oh, any tips on for people to get past that? Because that is probably the most, the biggest hurdle to go over.
Yeah, I think not having worked with GitHub previously, it was kind of a learning curve. And as I said, in the past, I did contribute it on TechNet Gallery, which was a long time back. And then like initially, it's just getting the knowledge about the GitHub, because that's where all the repository are kind of stored. And and I did learn about the sharing is caring initiative as well from attending community calls, and I decided to attend a few, and I attended one which was like on GitHub, which was very useful, and I was very impressed with the GitHub web editor as well, where you can just you don't really need to have Visual Studio Code or anything. You can just do everything on your browser, which was like really amazing. And yeah, so it's just yeah, and then from that I thought like, okay, let's take a baby step and just try and see what will the result. And then I knew like whatever I'll be contributed, it's going to be reviewed before it gets actually checked in. So at the same time, it's for me like to get the validations and maybe opportunity like to improve. So so the maintainers of each of our repository are really great. So I'll say like, don't be scared. If you want to just go on each of our repository, looks at the list of issues and see something which if you want, you can just start with documentation update or anything else, anything that you just feels that clicks to you, and just start. And then if you have any questions or anything using the issues these through comments, you can easily get feedback and things like that. So yeah, so there are loads of people, the maintainers of each one, which is going to really help. Like for example, I have one particular sample I submitted to the view list view formatting, and Tetsuya has been very good at testing the sample
Yes.
before actually committing it out. And sometimes he'll come like with different scenarios I didn't really think about. And then, yeah, I was like, okay, so I need to go and try it in different ways before it
Yep.
actually gets checked in.
Yeah. Tetsuya is an amazing example of a community, active community contributor from Japan, and he's just always there and helping and always
He's very
present.
sweet.
And yes, yes, and incredibly skillful as well. So absolutely brilliant
Yes.
stuff.
Yeah. It's very good because it's just like having, even if you think like you're on your own, but you're not. It's just
Yes.
like a whole bunch of people really like to bounce out ideas and just like to build a useful product. Even the CLI for M365, all the maintainers are really helpful, caring, supporting, and each time learning from each other. And you get to learn about new APIs, new technologies, and new ways of doing things as well in terms of the software engineering principles. You do learn quite a lot.
Now I need to write that time marker up because that was so beautifully said. So even though you think that you're by yourself, you're not, because there's people across the world helping with contributions and getting involved, contributing, like you said, one typo in the documentation, that can be the easiest way to get started. One typo in a README file, that's already helping other people on fixing or improving the readability, and that's more than enough to get started. And then learning how to use the GitHub gradually there. And there are people helping. And I think that's the beautiful thing of Reshmee, what you just said. You mentioned like 20 people who are there to help across the different capabilities and part of the journey. And that's actually makes me feel super happy. So it's really cool.
So huge big community. Yes, exactly. Across different worlds, different parts of the world. You'll never imagine that you'll ever work with because sometimes it's like geographical restrictions or other things. It's just like on the cloud.
Yeah, but it's also like this is this really great thing, right? Because like when you work at a company, you get exposed kind of into like one way of thinking, looking at things, and then when you work in the open, you get to like basically the same thing with kids, right? Like you have kids and they are at home, like they learn one way of doing things, but the world is big, and then they go out there, they get with other kids, and they learn like, hey, there are different ways to do things. There are different ways to look at things and deal with things, and that is invaluable. Like for growth, there is no better way than that. Like you can really learn, and that's really the cool thing. Like many of these folks are extremely skilled, right? So you can also learn from folks that you wouldn't get a chance to work with otherwise, because again, as you said, like different company geography is just impractical.
Yep.
Now you can. How
Yep.
cool is that, right?
Yeah, the internet. Yeah.
And I love the fact that especially within this group of community and this group of people, nobody's judging, and everybody is welcome. So it's always the encouragement of getting involved. Sharing is caring, as we keep on saying, and all of that. But it really kind of, it's one of that giving people the podium or opportunity to grow by providing feedback in a polite way. So if there's an areas where we can improve, we can say that there are areas to get improved, because every single one of us, nobody's perfect. There's always an ideas we can combine, and that makes us all better. So
yeah, and also the podium or the stage, right? To let people shine. Like people have awesome ideas and examples that on one hand show and inspire what can be done, but on the other hand also help others, because maybe you're stuck and maybe that sample that you think, yeah, but everybody knows about it. Well, do they though?
Yep.
And then you share some work in the open, no matter how small, and you see like that helped somebody, that unblocked them, and you're like, that cool, like that feeling is truly addictive.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And on that point, actually, so I just really want to iterate for anybody who's like, hey, there's already this and this kind of a sample, blah, blah, blah. No. And there's already somebody showed this video, and it was almost the same thing what I've done. Might have happened 2 years ago, might have happened 6 months ago. It doesn't matter. It's always the new perspective. It's always the new presentation, new implementation style, new ideas what we're sharing, and then new people watching the videos. Maybe they missed the previous video, so there's no harm of repeating, because humans, we learn by repeating. So that's just the way it is.
Yeah. Even my daughters, we are 4 and 6. We just like repeat to each other, sharing is caring. But it would be like for treats, for toys.
Yes. Brilliant. With the same mentality. So
sharing is caring. Can I have a piece of cake?
True. Good. So we went through the work, kind of a career, and then the community contributions. What's next? What's happening in Reshmee's future? Anything interesting? Oh, we can do this also in a smaller time frame. Anything interesting within the next week or within upcoming weeks?
Yeah, I've got a few blog post idea which I'm still working on. It's been on draft state for quite a long time, but I just need to find the time like to really finish them off on different areas. Power Automate, Power Apps, this formatting, but I just like need to find the time to do them. And as part as our company, we have something called Community Impact, and we are given like 5 volunteering days to do something to give back to the community. Cool. So I think within next week or 2 weeks, I'll be going and to a charity called Wrapped Up London. So people have been donating coats, winter coats, jackets. So I'll be there trying to sort them out, helping with their activities. And that's kind of it.
Cool. And the holiday season is coming, so hopefully things are a bit slowing down. So because I can definitely relate on. There's so many blog post drafts and all of that, because at some point I don't have an active blog at this moment of a time anymore because I gave up. But it's basically there's like 20 titles and intros and paragraphs to get started. It's like I will find the time to write this.
ChatGPT, write me a blog post.
But I've kind of now given up on my personal blog and rather promote and write stuff with the official ones for now, at least. So that's fine. Yeah. I know Waldek.
And I guess it will be like a lot of catching up of MS on the Microsoft Ignite. Yeah.
True.
Yeah. So offline or trying to watch something live, but we'll see. Time.
Yeah, that's true. Time is and everything. The keynote is happening like 4 p.m. UK time or 5 p.m. UK time. So it's we all have family as well, so we need to balance these things. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, Waldek, anything interesting on your side, or what are you building on?
Always interesting. I mean, it is interesting to
kind
me.
of
I
knew
don't know
that you're going to say
if
that.
it's interesting to you. It's interesting to me. So we're doing a few things for CLI for M365. As always, we are evolving it with new commands. We are looking into different things. Like the other day, we released some improvements that make it faster, which is a great thing to see because that benefits everybody, no matter which commands you use. And
Sure.
It's not like it's need to be a brand new thing. No, we want to make it better for everybody who is on it already. So 1, 2, we're looking into the ability in CLI because we acknowledge that many folks don't use just one tenant in their work. Like you need to switch back and forth between maybe you have dev tenant, maybe you have prod, pre-prod, whatever you've got. Switching between these identities is painful. Like it isn't easy. Like you need to log out, log in.
Yep.
We're looking into ways to make that easier. So you basically say like, I want to now work as user 1, and you're good. And there's no prompts and dialogues because you logged in a past already. The token is still good. So can we simplify that? So we're working on a few ideas around that.
I think Reshmee can confirm this. If I remember correctly, because I haven't been involved super closely in PnP PowerShell for a while, but Reshmee, I know that you contributed there as well. But in there, you can actually do a connection object, and you're able to flip that connection. It's actually really, really cool. So you can flip.
But if you close PowerShell, the connection is gone, right? So you
no,
don't
but you don't close. The PowerShell is different because you don't actually close the connection. You're in a session.
You close terminal and it's gone.
Of course, when you close, yeah, absolutely. But again, in your script, you can easily. Yeah. You can easily between the different tenants. But again,
apples and pears.
Absolutely, 100% agree on that. Not saying that CLI is a different technology, and it's just a definitely needed functionality. So completely understandable.
So that was 1 out of 10. I don't know how much time do you have still.
Yes.
Another big one for us at least was renaming Microsoft 365 Developer Proxy to Dev Proxy. It's something that's been in work, like on our mind for a long time, because over time we evolved from being graph-only tool to M365, and now we're like, well, you can use us really with any API. So why on earth are we called M365? We're not.
Yeah.
But it's not as simple as it might seem to change a name of what is a product in a way, right? Yeah. So it took us some time, but it's in. So now that it's out of the now that it's done, and now we're working on moving our docs to MS Learn, because our docs up until now, we're on a wiki in the repo. Surprise, surprise. The other day we learned that if repo has less than 500 stars, the wikis aren't indexed by Google and Bing and whatever. So you will never find that. Yeah.
Correct.
So you're like, we learned a thing, and now we need to move our docs so that people can find us, which is like, if only we knew that earlier. So now we do. We're working on that, so that should come in someday soon. And then on to that, doing a lot of work on graph connectors, which are a great way to centralize all the content that you've got in your org on Microsoft 365, so that you can find it more easily. So working on that, working on samples, new content for Learn. Like that is really top of mind for me. What about you, Vesa? What do you have cooking for us?
A lot of stuff. Not going to go too much details on things. Obviously, ESBC in Amsterdam is coming within 2 weeks, so prepping on there still. So that you'll be there as well. Which is it's been a while since we met actually in person. It's actually really been a while.
ECS.
ECS. Yes, that's true.
Yeah,
that is
not
true.
That bad.
That's true. And then obviously we do already a lot of planning for next semester and the investment areas. And then as my role as a PM in SPFX side, there's a lot of planning happening on that side, because it's looking into growing on double, triple growth patterns right now. So there's going to be more and more features and capabilities on that. So SPFX is certainly not going to go away. There's going to be further investments across the Microsoft 365 stack. So which is actually really cool, because it is by far the easiest way to do extensibility across the things, because automatic hosting, it's really, really sweet. Other than that, so many items in the checkbox. I'm not going to go too much details on them. Now, I guess that's it for now. Thank you, Reshmee, for joining. Thank you for all of the contributions you've done throughout the years within the community side, and helping other people to get unplugged, because that's what that is all about. And thank you for sharing your journey as well.
Thank you very much for having me. It's been a pleasure, an amazing experience to finally be, because I've watched the show for nearly the last 2 years, and it's just like
It took us really
incredible
that long to find
experience.
you. Oh my God, that's so bad.
I was maybe unknown at the time. Yeah, I didn't really start in my contribution journey at that time 2 years ago, but it kind of really helped. Yeah, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Reshmee. And in the show, we'll start jump in on the weekly articles and going them through with Waldek. This time with all of the Ignite announcements, so we kind of have a lot of stuff to cover. So, but let's jump on there. Thank you, Reshmee. Cheers.
Thank you. Bye.
Excellent. Thank you, Reshmee, one more time on joining with us. That was a really nice discussion. And thank you for taking the time to have that discussion. And then we'll jump on the weekly articles. What do we have this week? What do we have? Let's start
Ignite
with
week. Last week was Ignite week, right? So we will have a bunch of news from there. But there's one more thing we wanted to open up with.
Yeah, indeed. Sorry.
There was a little thing.
A small thing. So those who follow up on AI and open AI discussions and news and everything else, I was actually in London on Friday, and when I saw this on London evening, what's happening, I was like, wait, what? Okay, better not comment too much on the details and speculation. There's so much rumors related on what actually happened, but the latest statement from this Monday on 28th of well, that's 19th, because that was actually yesterday, since they shared this in US time zone, is that the Sam Altman and Greg Brockman from OpenAI are moving into the Microsoft. And Microsoft is continuing the partnership with OpenAI as well. So interesting. A lot of interesting speculation, at least. There's no way for knowing what's actually truth and not what. But this is a proven situation.
We just got 2 new colleagues.
Yes, exactly. And they seem to be pretty good choice colleagues, for sure. Super excited on actually seeing that. Hopefully this will settle down what happened within the past 72 hours. And I have to say, I had earlier today a meeting with Louisa Fries on some social media and YouTube planning. And as we're doing YouTube and checking out things and plans, I saw what profile is being shown, the YouTube profile, and a lot of the things were, this is what really happened in OpenAI. This is what really happened, and it's just mind-boggling. All of the
it's all speculation, right?
Exactly, it's just complete speculation. We'll see if we ever will know what actually happened, but this is the current state of the situation. Which is really cool.
Maybe in a few years there will be a book written by somebody, Sam Altman's biography, and maybe then we will kind of get to the or maybe
yes.
not.
Or maybe not. So. Maybe not. Yeah. Maybe not. So hopefully we can focus on the goodness of the AI and making sure that it's safe for everybody to use. I think that's the main thing here. And now they are backed with Microsoft, which is really, really cool. So awesome stuff. Well, OpenAI is still backed with Microsoft, and now Sam and Han and Greg are employed by Microsoft, which is really, really interesting. Cool. Now let's actually then get back on the Ignite. So last week we had Ignite from Tuesday to Friday, unless I'm completely mistaken. A few days online. Some of the days were only in person in Seattle. I had a few friends dropping by. We catched up on Friday and Saturday, and they said that it was really, really good. So people are super excited on-prem. The venue is really cool. I haven't seen the new Seattle Convention Center since they renovated that completely. It's been a few years since I've been there, but it's cool to see. The feedback was awesome, and a lot of exciting announcements. So a lot of future-proven promises, so to say. Is that a wrong way of saying that? Well, it is a promise. Future-proven promises, what is coming, and what are we rolling out gradually for customers or partners to take advantage as well. Obviously, not all of those things which we're showing are immediately available. But they will be gradually then available for the partner and customer ecosystem. A lot of awesome stuff, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's like, if you could pick one, what is your favorite announcement? And I know I am putting you on the spot, which is exactly why I'm doing it.
That's actually really good question. So the Satya keynote was really good. There was few really good videos in the keynote, emotional videos, and also kind of a vision statement videos related on Copilot extensibility. Now, the motional video, let's not deep dive on there, but I love the HoloLens video, which was showing how Copilot is helping you as an employer on your factory working and all of that. So people are basically having the HoloLens in the head, and then you could overlay the guidance and instructions, and you were having a chat with the Copilot all the time. So basically saying and asking, okay, I'm looking into doing this, what do I do? And then the HoloLens is activating or visually indicating what you need to do as you're doing that. And that's actually pretty cool. And also, what's the next step and what's the next step? So you'll have that natural language conversation with computers. And now that's been the promise of or the kind of the holy grail of computer science since 1950s, but now it seems to be a reality because we can actually truly do that with Azure Cognitive Services, text-to-speech, speech-to-text, and then Copilot and OpenAI, which understands the actual intent. So it's actually really cool.
With that, like, yes, it sounds cool, but I can't help but have the feeling like basically the same way you write code, and then compiler comes like, hey, you're missing a comma on line 42, line chart.
Yep.
Just put it there. If you know that it's missing, why don't you add it there? The same way.
Yeah, but
if we get to the point that we are instrumenting, guiding human beings to do things like, why don't you just build a robot that does it? Because apparently we've got all instructions automated and we know everything around. Like, wouldn't that be more streamlined?
When you think about, for example, absolutely, that's why we have robots in factories and a lot of robots are being used. But if you do maintenance and you do maintenance where the options are 500 different options, what you need to do for, let's say you open up a laptop from the back, and then depending on whatever is the issue within the laptop, there are 500
buy a new laptop.
Well, that is an option, but there's quite a few different options.
Yeah, totally.
For repeatable work, yes, robots, absolutely, 100%. But that kind of the additional, knowledge and insights, or you can ask, hey, I'm looking into which of these is actually blah blah blah, and then you get a visual indication with the HoloLens on your head, and with the audio as well. It is really cool. It's really cool. Definitely something to catch on if you haven't seen that one. A lot of interesting other announcements as well. A lot of focus on AI. Some of the AI stuff is not yet quite available for customers, so there's a level of a frustration here and there. They will be there. They will be definitely there. So good. Let's run through some of the articles. Ebo, what was your favorite on the Ignite?
Oh, now you're putting me on this spot. Being dev at heart, it's everything about dev. And Ignite isn't really a dev-focused event. So while there were a few announcements, there weren't that many. So with that, I'm going to default to something that has been top of mind for me for the last few months, is being able to extend Copilot. Like being able to bring your own data to it, because that's basically what we will all need. Is kind of sounds like an extra because you are extending it, and that's kind of how we talked about extending things over the course of years. But when you think about it now, it's really table stakes, because without being able to reason over all the data that you've got in your org, AI will not be able to help you as much. So you really wanted to be able to do that. And for that, it needs access to all the stuff around you, meaning you will need to extend it. You will need to bring the data in your org to it. And that's a really cool way that off the bat, we have the way to do it with plugins and connectors, so that there are already ways available for us to do it. So I'm really excited about that. And it's going to be interesting to see how folks will adopt that and how will that land eventually when Copilot becomes available to broader audience.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, that looks really good, and it's quite simple. It's not rocket science. That's the thing.
Yeah, so, and that's also another thing, is that it's, if you've built on M365 in the past, it's the same tech. It's the skills you've already got. It's nothing new. There's not like use this new concept of a plugin that looks totally different like anything else you've seen. No. It's the same tech you've already built. So if you invested in the past in that expertise, you benefit from it now, because now you can build, you can use it. You can use the same skills for one more thing, and that's really cool.
Absolutely, 100%. Cool. We can actually cover all of these things as we go through the articles. Now, word of a warning, there were so many articles from Microsoft, so we're not going to do community articles in this week. So we're going to just focus on covering the Microsoft articles, and then on next week, we'll catch up on all of the community goodness, which we saw happening within the past week as well. Now, on the Ignite, the easiest way to kind of summarize, okay, so what were the key announcements and what are the key news and what was announced? It's all in the book of news. So Book of News is something which helps us on guide through all of the individual announcements across the stack, and you can easily use search to find the relevant sample in here. So that's actually really, really awesome. Take advantage of that asset.
I wonder if somebody built a GPT pointing it at this page. It's like, hey, I want to know more about.
There should be a GPT pointing on this page. Absolutely, there is. Now, where is it? And well, you need to be able to use GPTs. You need to have access on ChatGPT. So, anyway.
Yes.
Anyway. Good. Work smarter with Microsoft Teams Premium. Again, summary. So latest innovations for the Microsoft Teams Premium. Microsoft Teams Premium was announced previously already, and now we're adding additional capabilities like are using AI to clean up your background. You could have actually done this Waldek today because you were.
But we aren't on Teams.
Good point. Good point. A lot of other announcements as well. Improvements across the stack for the Microsoft Teams Premium. Awesome stuff on there. There was also an article around Microsoft Teams Room and devices. So what are the latest announcements on them from Ignite? And obviously, improving and recapping the integration options to other areas as well, and a lot of new device capabilities now that we're getting a bit more and more back to the normal, and actually meeting rooms is a thing again, right?
I'm meeting everybody in this room. This is my meeting room.
This is my meeting room. Yes.
There you go.
Yes,
so does that mean that I get appliance for it?
Yeah, you'll have haven't you requested this from the company already?
Well, I mean, if anything else, I would need, like, first of all, I would need more room to put all of that, that stuff in.
That's fair as well. Yeah. Anyway, a lot of awesome improvements on the devices side as well, and new devices, which is always exciting. Explore the latest innovations in webinars and town halls for Microsoft Teams. So I think we call this live meeting? No, live meeting is the old thing. Anyway, when you are talking to a large audience, these are basically then the webinars and town halls. So you're able to basically adjust these things more efficiently, and you are broadcasting. So it's not a chat based like a Teams meeting. It's more you are broadcasting as a presenter and a larger audience, and you can still use obviously Microsoft Teams for that. And a lot of additional innovation on that side being announced as well. Now, what's new in Microsoft Teams? A summary article from Stephen related on the Ignite announcements, just referencing again all of the other announcements, and not just premium and devices and the webcast. Some of this stuff, it doesn't require any premium licenses, so it's part of the Teams and baseline. But a lot of awesome announcements here as well. So. Extending Microsoft Copilot for Microsoft 365, a guide for enterprises and ISVs. This one is actually the important one, which you mentioned, Waldek, from Srini. And basically summarizing, summarizing all of the announcements related on Copilot extensibility. And we do have a lot of announcements already, tooling and capabilities already available for those who have access on Copilot. So this is actually the Copilot ecosystem right now, and it is obviously extending in the future. And you can actually get a limited number of Copilot licenses through the Microsoft 365 Developer Technology Adaption Program. So that's a good way of, if you're an ISVs to get access on that program and get access on the functionalities as well. But pretty soon, well, sooner or later, we will have the Copilot available for everybody within the world, whenever that happens. So not going to speculate any timelines. But these are actually, so this one is a great blog post on showcasing also the options and power of the Teams messaging extension option, and also then the capabilities and support for integrating using Graph Toolkit, or not Graph Toolkit, Graph connectors. See?
I'm waiting. I'm just trying to understand, like, trying to slow down and understand what you're trying to say.
I'm
So,
trying
like,
to explain the two different options: plugins.
yes, correct. And then
And
there's
the graph
also
connectors.
another one which we see all the way down, which is the ability to build your own.
Power
Because
platform.
maybe you have a
yeah.
trained, highly skilled, a trained, optimized model that you want to use also in Teams, and for that you can build your own GPT, right, and bring it to Teams. So there are different ways for you to be able to use AI to work more effectively.
Yeah, as in bring your own GPT or Copilot, as in you're basically creating a bot, which is then smart enough to expose all of the AI
It's more than a
capabilities
bot.
behind it.
These days we call them agents or assistants, right? So it's kind of because they can do more, but
yeah,
it's chatting with something.
You are chatting with something. It's a chat use.
So if I send
interface.
you a text on the phone, you're also no.
Yes, absolutely true. Anyway, a lot of cool announcements. We'll reference some access point and extensibility points on that one as well. We also had the Microsoft Teams phone news on there, so a lot of innovation that side as well getting announced in Ignite. So much announcements in Ignite. Unlocking efficiency and secure collaboration with advanced collaboration tools in Teams Premium. So again, additional capabilities, insights on what's happening, and capabilities within the Teams UX. So that's actually really, really awesome as well. Now, this one's also super interesting. So not just rebranding, but much more. So introducing SharePoint Premium, a feature of AI-powered content management and experiences, and a lot of insights on what's actually happening in here as well. So basically integrating the AI natively as part of the SharePoint, and that's then the SharePoint Premium with different set of capabilities and options available, including, for example, signature, e-signatures, and all of that natively within
really
the
cool.
product. Yeah, there's a lot of awesome automation in here. Now, as part of this, we actually also rebranded Microsoft Syntax to be part of the under the same hub, which is the Microsoft SharePoint Premium. So there's no Microsoft Syntax anymore. It's all called SharePoint Premium right now, which I think it's actually more better than trying to create a new brand called Microsoft Syntax. So I think it was a bit confusing, right?
Oh, I mean, it's a new name, new brand, and like you would have to understand how does that fit, because like it's one thing to understand what's in there, and the other one is how does that fit in a broader scope, right? So I think having fewer brands makes that easier, I would say, but that is just me.
Absolutely. Now, we also had a update on what's new for Copilot Microsoft 365 admins. So a lot of announcements in Ignite on that side as well. We're not going to deep dive in all of these because we would spend 2 hours on doing that. Now, Naomi Moneypenny, and she's not a James Bond character. She's real and an awesome product leader. Has been leading the Viva topics, and this is really an updated article related on Viva topics in Copilot and what does that mean and how we're exposing then additional insights, what has been captured by Viva topic as part of the Microsoft 365 Copilot. Sorry, Copilot for Microsoft 365.
Correct.
Trying to learn.
Yes.
Now, Copilot Microsoft Teams innovation for secure, simple, and smart frontline workspace. Again, additional announcements on that side for frontline workers and targeting that side. So a lot of other stuff on there as well. A bit overwhelming amount of announcements. Microsoft Loop announcements is now generally available for Microsoft 365 work accounts, and that is actually really awesome news as well. Awesome, great innovation in the Loop, and you're able to integrate the Loop not only using the Loop, but you can actually use Loop components across the Microsoft 365 as well. Awesome stuff. We also had a update related on Clipchamp and Designer in here. Create videos and images at work, and I think this isn't GA. I think it's full integration. Maybe it's just an update. Now available for commercial customers. That's what I was actually looking for. We've been generally using Clipchamp already for a while.
So it is now.
Yes.
Clipchamp is GA. Yeah,
exactly. Anyone licensed in Microsoft 365, and is actually surprisingly easy the application to create good-looking videos and all of that, and you're able to directly use and create them directly within the cloud, and that's really cool. Awesome stuff. easy video creation. Microsoft 365 backup and Microsoft 365 backup storage. At Ignite 2023, we have a lot of backup providers, and now we're enabling them to be natively part of the service. So integration options and capabilities there as well, which is awesome. So there are partner solutions which are building these solutions as well. Great stuff there. We also had an announcement on Microsoft Loop's November Ignite summary for IT admins. So how do we manage those Loop components, and how does that work in practice? Is it really a Syntax repository services then anymore?
Or is it a Microsoft SharePoint Premium repository services?
Just saying.
Naming is hard.
Naming is hard. Naming is hard. Now announcing 5 new cross-suite capabilities coming to Microsoft Viva. So Microsoft Viva is evolving as well. So a lot of investments and focus there. You're able to publish, for example, for Viva Amplify, also to Viva Engage, not only on Teams and SharePoint. Viva goals, processes, investments in Glint. A lot of stuff in all of the individual modules as well, and insights on the usage. So much innovation. New base Microsoft Copilot Viva are transforming employee experience related on the Viva Ignite announcements as well, and what you can do with all of the different Viva modules. So a lot of stuff here as well. Just think about the amount of videos what we released actually last week. Just the guidance and
how many minutes video we released into a single week.
Exactly.
How much time is going to cost you to review all of that? Yeah.
True. Now, you had a new blog post in the developer blog related on using Microsoft Graph Connectors to securely bring external content to Microsoft 365. That sounds a pretty familiar topic.
It is. It's something that's been top of mind for me for the last few months, right? And it's a really great thing because, again, as I said at the start, you want AI to be able to reason over all data in your org, and that also means that external systems that you've got, you need to bring that content to AI in one way or another. And connectors are exactly that, right? So they allow you to bring you the content to Microsoft 365, and with that also make it available to Copilot, Search, and so forth and so on, right? And a part of that is that content typically isn't available to everybody. Right. Yep. So it's secured with ACLs, and this article goes into the abilities that you've got, how you're going to ensure the right access for the content, for the external content you bring into Microsoft 365.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. It's a super important part of the planning as you're doing this. So is the content actually ACL secured or not? So, and if it is, what are you going to do? Good. Then we also had an update on the Microsoft Graph Toolkit, a new chat component. We'll do a live demo on this one in the upcoming community call as well, but basically you are able to create applications which are chatting directly within the Microsoft Teams chat style experience, so which is really cool. So embed your Teams conversation in any web application. Awesome stuff. Really great. And there was also an update on the Microsoft Teams AI library and API message extensions. Really interesting and exciting announcement. They've been building this. We announced this in Build, the Teams AI library, and now it's actually more capable in the future. And you're able to use that to orchestrate your AI processes. Is that a good way of saying that, Waldek? Orchestration of the implementation, so to say. How would you say that?
Orchestrate the interaction between the client and the LLM. AI. Yeah, right? Because it's all, the things like planning all the different stages you've got and so forth and so on, handling the tools or skills or the way you call them, dealing with, so all of that is basically implemented in an orchestrator that you can use to kind of embed that in your app and not have to do all of the plumbing by yourself.
Absolutely. And this one is also referencing the innovations on the Teams Toolkit. So Teams Toolkit had a lot of updates as well related on how we can do this AI and Copilot connected capabilities. So a lot of awesome announcement on that side as well. Now, there was also an updated kind of what is the Microsoft 365 extensibility all up from Ben Summers for marketing side. And this is basically an overall listing of all of the different announcements and what does it actually mean and capabilities around Copilot extensibility from an AI perspective, and also from a few other areas as well. So what is getting announced in Ignite from an extensibility perspective. So a lot of cool stuff here as well. Teams extensibility being mentioned here as well. And I think in the Teams extensibility, somewhere in all of this source of announcements, we had that announcement where we are able to create botless messaging extensions.
You're looking at it. It's right there in the article where it's like if you scroll a little bit up, there you go.
API-based messaging extensions.
Yeah.
There it is. Exactly. There we go. Cool. There's so much getting announced. So,
Yes.
But that's actually really cool. So you don't have to have a bot. You can just associate your Teams app definition to an existing API, and then you don't have to have a bot, which is making things more complex from a deployment perspective. So it's basically codeless integrations in the Microsoft Teams, so to say. So. Well, you have the code in Azure, but still, anyway. So
you have the API and you have the manifest, and that is it. You don't need a middleman for Teams to talk to the API that you've got. So Teams is now able to call the API immediately based on the data you put in the manifest of your app.
Yep, absolutely. Awesome stuff over there. Then we had a Microsoft 365 Power Platform side. There was an Accelerate Copilot extensibility and Power App creation with Microsoft Dataverse. Announcements from the Ignite, so updates on that side as well. Dataverse being probably the most flexible data structure model within the Power Platform side. And the recommended way of doing things in many cases. Power Apps also had a blog post from Brian Cunningham around Power Apps accelerates the shift towards modern AI-infused apps with governance at scale. Sounded like an AI-generated title almost. So. But yeah, Ryan is the VP of Power Apps and basically listing all of the capabilities which were again announced in the Ignite related on Power Apps and options and that platforms. A lot of stuff here.
And Copilot Studio.
And Copilot Studio. You are absolutely correct as well. When do we have the Copilot Studio getting announced?
It was up. Up. Stop. Or a bit up again. Yeah, somewhere. Yes, there you go. Right here. If you scroll down a little bit. Yep, stop.
There we go. Customize the full power of Copilot Studio. Yes, we did announce Copilot Studio, and that's basically the way you can. Well, it's not just a
low-code way to build your own
virtual agents.
Correct. GPTs.
Correct. That's true. And then we have two more articles here, DirectFX Dataverse actions indicating GA. That's really cool as well. And then the Copilot extensibility documentation, which was getting released last week as well with the references on the documentation and how to get started on building those extensions. Awesome stuff.
Absolutely.
But I guess that's it for now within this journey. Thank you, Reshmee, one more time for joining. We'll get back on the PnP Weekly within a week again. We'll be back. Right, Waldek?
Thank you, folks. See ya.